And then, yeah, we did have a question here. Gary, I'll leave it up to you. I'm fine for recording. If anyone does have issues, feel free to drop now. You can hopefully just catch the content later. But that's the legal disclaimer. So tonight's follow along URL, I'm going to drop that in the chat, and then I'm going to go and share my screen. Cool. And I've learned during a pandemic, you no longer ask, can you see my screen? You just assume that somebody will stop you at some point. So right now, tonight is just a follow along. I want your hands on the keyboard. If you don't want to, that's more than fine. A lot of this content is pre-recorded, and I'll show you how to get to that as well. But we're going to concentrate on Tabular Editor an hour. And there's a few things that we're going to need to kind of do to get set up. So I dropped it in the chat if you need it. If you just don't have access to the chat, it's going to be github.com/Microsoft/PVI workshops. This is just a repository that I've taken over here at Microsoft, just looking at kind of the dashboard in a day cliff that kind of happens after you leave those courses. Just what is some additional content we can build out for our community. Tabular Editor an hour. And then some of the first things we'll want to do for the follow along here, we'll want to download and install Tabular Editor, and then also download and open this sales demo PBX file. So just a nice little pro tip here, control, just hold that on your keyboard, click, opens in a new tab. And then within Tabular Editor, we're going to see a lot of release notes here. Not really too worried about these, minor updates. It's really going to be this assets section that you want to find. So I'll give you a moment to click on that. And then there's two different downloads if you do not already have these. So tabulareditor.installer.msi, so just a Microsoft installer. Or if you're having any issues, I've had some companies where they're just not able to get that installed. The portable.zip will just have a kind of a standalone exe. So you can try either one of those if you're having any issues. But just scroll down to the assets section, try and install one of those. Then the other one is going to be download and open this sales demo PBX file. Now I'm in no rush tonight. I think we have enough attendees here, so you can just give me the thumbs up whenever you're kind of good. So I'll let you get both of those downloaded and installed. Just while I stall there a little bit with your internet bandwidth, I'll introduce myself here. So my name is Alex Powers, just a senior intelligence technical specialist located here in St. Louis, Missouri. Like Gary said, he's been an early champion of mine. We started at least Power BI user group probably 3 years ago. I want to say there was maybe 7 people in the room. 4 of them were the organizers, and one of those was Gary for the other 3. So just really appreciate always being able to come and hang out with his group here as well.
Glad
Professional
to have.
background. Oh, go ahead, Gary.
I just said glad to have you.
Yep. So professional background, just I'm an Excel guy at heart. I started in Power Query, started in Power Pivot, and really my journey has been how have those tools just allowed me to get into Power BI, from Power BI obviously into more business intelligence, so across Azure, artificial intelligence, Power Platform, whatever it is. I'm always just excited to kind of go out and learn. But one of the more proud ones, once again, just co-organized user group. We do meet every 3rd Thursday. It's very informal. So the more you get to know me, hopefully here within the kind of the backyard, the more you'll realize I just like hanging out, nerding out about the things that I'm excited about, and hopefully some others join me along the way. But not always a Microsoft robot. I do have personal interests just outside of the work. Cats, professional wrestling, and data, like we kind of introed here. I definitely spend way too much time over on Reddit in the Power BI sub community, just helping people out over there. And I'll be honest with you, here with COVID, I just miss just everything. I miss getting face to face with user groups, miss hanging out at the Microsoft Technology Center, miss hanging out over Doherty here with some of the user groups as well. Just I miss everything. But with that, hopefully I've stalled enough for you. Tabular Editor, if you have not already done so, just get that downloaded and installed for me. Once again, just on that page, install to MSI or the zip, and then download the sales demo file. So with this, external tools within Power BI, one of the first things we're going to notice, so if I zoom in here at the very top, external tools, I see they're grayed out. I'm clicking furiously. None of it is opening. So we're going to need a little bit more kind of a pre-work here on the Power BI side. So I'm actually going to snap this to the right. We'll snap this page to the left. And we'll start scrolling down here. So to our setup. Once again, if I move too fast tonight, if we kind of skip over an issue and you're like, well, how do I see that again? A lot of this content I've already pre-recorded for you. So feel free to watch it, or if you have someone that wasn't able to make it tonight, just forward them this page. Say, Alex killed it, just top to bottom. Go out here and watch it or follow along. But within Power BI Desktop, we need to enhance this preview feature. So this is for the July and August versions. If you're on September or later, you no longer have to do this. But within Power BI, File, Options and Settings, Options. And then it's going to be this preview feature. And it's going to say Store data sets using the enhanced metadata format. So we're enabling it tonight. If after tonight's presentation you don't feel comfortable with using the enhanced metadata format, I understand. Like I said, though, it is now general availability just as of the September desktop release. So maybe I'll pause there. Is anyone still on July or August? All right, cool. And just let me know in the chat. So I'll do OK. It's going to let us know we just need to restart the Power BI desktop application. Do so now, and then we'll open that sales demo file. All right, so we do have someone on the July version. Excellent. Yep. So you'll just want to enable this then for tonight. And like I said, it's up to you if you choose to disable it, if you just don't feel comfortable using the preview features. But just to enable the external tools, first they need to be installed kind of on your machine. So we did that with the Tabular editor at the beginning here. And now if we look at the external tools ribbon, nice and black, colorful. So if we click on these now, we'll go ahead and launch kind of some of these external tools. So just keep in mind, you have to have these downloaded, especially, let me go over to help. Why I think that these are important topics. On the help, we have external tools. Microsoft is spotlighting and kind of highlighting these three. So Tabular Editor, DAX Studio, and ALM Toolkit. If some of these you think are important, you're trying to get them kind of a green-lighted in your organization. An important call out here. So if I jump back over to the Tabular editor, Tabular editor is digitally signed when downloaded from GitHub. So if that's important to your IT organization, if they're saying, well, we're not sure how we feel about open source technology coming in, you can say, yes, this has been reviewed. It has been digitally signed. The same goes for DAX Studio. I know the creator, Darren Gosbel, he had it, and I know the SQL BI guys, I think they went out and just paid for him to get it digitally signed. So either of those two, digitally signed, trusted, hopefully make that case with your IT organization. I think it's probably only ALM Toolkit that may still have a little bit of issues if you're trying to champion these kind of internally. But this goes over a lot of the great documentation here. So just on the help tab, external tools, just if you need to make that business case, digitally signed, here are all the benefits. Just why I'm excited about them kind of after tonight. So let me close out of that. We're going to launch now external tools, Tabular editor. We're going to do a little bit more setup here. So within Tabular editor now, we're going to navigate to the file, preferences. And then I see these two kind of experimental features. So let me hover above these. So checking this will let you edit all TOM objects and properties when connected to a Power BI dataset. All right, so some type of editing, and then detect changes on a local AS instance. So checking this will automatically update the Tabular object model just whenever changes are detected in another system. There we go, connected to a model from another application. So one is editing, then the other one is reading. So let's go ahead and enable both of these for now. Once again, if you're not comfortable with it, you can always come back and disable these. But I'll go ahead and press OK. Close out of this. And then we'll just talk about this TOM that Tabular Object was mentioning. So the TOM is the Tabular Object model, which Power BI sits on top of here. So if we're really thinking here just in terms of the structure, so our server, especially if you're using the Power BI cloud service, so that just powerbi.com, your database, kind of like your workspaces, the actual model is your data sets, data source. So think about like the Power Query, kind of, get data process, and then some of the different elements. So like our table, which contains our columns, measures, hierarchies, relationships, so, primary and foreign keys here between the various tables, maybe also roles. So thinking like row level security. So let's try something here now. So our objective here was we're going to go and extract out the underlying metadata from our model. So within our Power BI file, we're now just in this section here. So number one, we're going to navigate to the external tools and we're going to launch Tabular Editor. Then on your local machine, so just give me a nice little warning here that we're using the experimental features, just not currently supported, that's fine. Keep the backup though of your file. So press OK. Create a local file folder on your machine if you like. You can call it whatever. I'm just titling mine sales demo. And we're going to save out some of this underlying metadata. So within Tabular Editor, we're going to go File, Save to Folder. Save this here now in my downloads, sales demo. Select that out. Yes, awesome. Then we're going to open this folder. So I got my downloads, sales demo. There we go. So I see here some of the TOM object properties, right? So tables. You can see the various tables here within my model. So maybe click on customers. I can see the underlying JSON. Just keep in mind, it's not the actual data that it's exporting. It's just the metadata structure. So what's something else here? Let's try this. So let's do our file. This time we're going to do a save as. We're just going to save out this model.bim, so the Tabular model file, so just .bim. Save, and we're going to open this up in just our text editor. So jumping back over here to our files. Model.bim, I'm just going to go ahead and right click this. Open it in VS Code. You can open it up in just any text editor if you'd like. And cool. Get out of here, Untitled. Excellent. So we can see here model.bim, Power BI is just this massive JSON body. So a couple things that are kind of jumping out to me here. Compatibility level 1520. Obviously data source, just a Power BI v3. All right, so some of the objects from our TOM, like our tables. The name of one of our table here is orders. Columns, so order ID, int64 data type. What were some of the other items though? So let's do, we had tables. What about relationships? Go back up to 1. There we go. So we've got a relationship here between orders table and my customers table, customer ID to customer ID, so primary and foreign keys, awesome. Then we also had roles. So let's do roles. And I have a row level security here within this JSON body. So just where state Providence is equal to Florida. I mean, knowing that Power BI is just sitting on top of this JSON body, I mean, I guess I could probably just like copy and paste this a little bit, make another rule. It just seems like a lot of accuracy to get all my curly braces and my square brackets. So you could see where, if we scale back out, Tabular Editor, it allows us to read the underlying metadata content of our model. So very much like the tables here that we saw, Here in the left-hand navigation, expand out tables. I can see all the tables here within our model. Similar to roles, if we were just looking at that here, you can just press expand right here, or if you're using the numerical kind of directional key, just press right, press left to expand or collapse. There's my Florida sales rep role. And if I wanted to, I could see the underlying role. So Tabular Editor allows us to read the underlying JSON by a graphical user interface. Whew. Let me pause there. Power BI sits on top of analysis services. So I know we have the kind of the BI group here tonight. It's not just a data visualization tool. So if you have been doing any kind of modeling with SQL Server analysis services, Azure analysis services, obviously you can look to upgrade those models. You can connect to them here from Tabular Editor. So file, open from a database, from a file. So in this example, I could connect out to the services. I could connect out to a deployed Power BI Premium data set. However you want to use this tool, you're more than free to do so. If you have any prior models that are kind of on premises and you want to deploy those up into the Power BI service, you can do that as well. So just model, deploy, and then you can choose obviously wherever you'd like to have that development done. So just a great tool, especially for our BI professionals here tonight, where you can just grow past kind of Power BI Desktop and now into Tabular Editor. Cool. So any questions? The Tabular object model, the model.bim. I'll pause there. So like I said, I'm in no rush tonight. Yeah, so if you were to deploy the models, it would require the XML endpoint. But you can still do all of your local development here, like we're doing right now. We're just connecting to the Power BI dataset locally. So we're more than fine. It's really just if you're wanting to use point up in the service. So everything's still good. All right. So no questions here then. Hopefully if Gary has any more, you can just come off mute here for us, just if the audience kind of asks anything.
Just kind of follow up with that. So what's the impact of the user-based Power Premium licensing now? Does that change anything?
It changes a lot, yeah.
What does it mean?
Yeah, so at Microsoft Ignite, we announced a new licensing. So this would be Power BI Premium per user. So what that allows you is premium features at a per user license. One feature it does not allow though is free viewers. So if you would like to use the XML endpoint, use some of the cognitive services, machine learning through data flows, if you want to leverage those features, you're more than fine to do so. Any of that content would require other viewers to have a premium per user license. Otherwise, obviously, if you want to unlock free viewing, that's still through the Power BI Premium subscription. So I'll pause there. Is that what you were thinking, Gary?
Uh-huh.
Yep. I'm actually really excited for it because it just unlocks a wealth of potential. So people that maybe have not traditionally had the exposure to the paginated reports, so think SQL Server reporting services, or some of these more advanced capabilities like the XML endpoint, that's now going to be unlocked. So just really excited for that for our community.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's talk about just best practice analyzer here within Tabular Editor. So we'll kind of jump back over to our model here. Alex, I'm just gonna be honest with you, I took a look at the report. It's all over the board, it's unusable. We got to start back from scratch. What are you talking about? I'm looking at the table names. They're evenly spaced. I don't see dims. I don't see facts. I don't see underscores. Very readable. I mean, this is a great looking model. No, I mean, I had my experts. They took a look at the model. It's just got hundreds and hundreds of issues. What experts are you talking about, Alex? we literally saw you download this model just 2 minutes ago. This is freshly downloaded. You haven't done any work. But you're right. It's that rich 20-year history of analysis services, all of those experts, all of the Italians, Marco, and obviously Alberto. It's all of their knowledge that's now condensed for you. So it's just like having a consultant at your desk with all of that rich, deep experience. You can now point it at your model with these best practices. So let's go ahead and learn how to do so here. So our objective here is import the best practices rules collection, and we're going to apply this to our model. So first, if you remember the pro tip, just hold Control, press click. It'll open just a new tab in your web browser. So at the very top here, out in the best practice rules repository, we can see here just on the graphical user interface. If you're interested in contributing, here is the overall just structure. At any point in time, if you feel like you've cracked the code on tabular modeling, feel free, come out here and just submit it. So then that way it can be a community resource. But we're going to start here by scrolling back up. BPA rules-standard.json. So I'm going to click on this now. I can see here just within GitHub, just all of these rules that have been written out. But really, I want to click on this raw. So this is just an important step here. So we click on raw. So we can get the raw format of the JSON. Cool. Here at the very top, we just want to copy this from our web browser. If you're wanting to just cheat and skip a few steps, you're more than fine to do so. Just copy this link right here. But within Tabular Editor here at the very top, we're going to go to our tools. We're going to go to Manage BPA Rules. We're going to go and add a rule here. So at the very top, we're going to do Add. And we want to include a rule file from a URL. So then this way, in the future, as new rules are added, we're going to go and inherit those. So just press OK. Paste this here now. So I see that .json because we clicked the raw button. Press OK. Very cool. And let me check something here real quick. I just need to delete this. Awesome. So if we click on raw.github user content here, that URL we pasted, we see all these rules that are now just imported into our model. So press OK here again then. Right here. And we're going to go and just analyze these here. So within Tabular Editor, Tools, Best Practice Analyzer, or F10 if you're a keyboard fan. Let's go ahead and move this out. Bottom left-hand corner, 190 objects in violation of over 13 best practices. Wow. All of that expert knowledge just contained within that best practices collection. Now reviewing my model here, telling me areas for improvement. So let's go ahead and maybe read some of these. So column references should be fully qualified. I would agree. So just a lot of these calendar, local dates. Obviously, that's just telling me a lot of auto time intelligence. Do not use floating point data types. So if you're kind of out in 16 decimal place precision land, this is definitely the wrong tool. Kind of bring those in a little bit. But one that's kind of jumping out to me here is hide foreign key columns. So I've got 11 different objects here in violation. If I hover above this now, columns used on the many-sided relationship should be hidden, as related dimension table is likely the best place to apply a filter context. I would agree. So we should hide our foreign keys. So with this, I'm actually going to click on the script here at the very top. So generate a fixed script. It's been copied to our clipboard. Awesome. So let's press OK. Then we're going to navigate over to advanced scripting here within Tabular Editor. And I'm going to paste this script here. So just Control V. Now let's make this a little bit bigger here so we can start reading this. And I'm going to scale out just a little bit so I can zoom in just one more time. Cool. All right, so let's figure out what it's trying to do here. So models. All right, so thinking about our Tom now. So tables, orders, columns, customer ID. Now I've got this is hidden property, and we're going to set it to true. All right, so next one down, orders salesperson ID is hidden equals true. All right, so order date is hidden true. All right, so I'm starting to read this. So it seems like we're applying some type of hidden property and just setting that to true here for all of our columns. So I'm going to actually expand out my orders table. If I just right click here once again, or just a right arrow on my directional pad, I'm going to run this script now. So once again, if you're a keyboard fan, F5 here, run script, or you can just press the green button. So I'm going to press this here now. I see these columns just a light gray now. Order ID is still black. Customer ID is now just kind of been hidden. Salesperson ID hidden. So awesome. So we're able to apply those changes here now. Let's take a look at our model then. So orders table. Customer ID still visible. Salesperson ID still visible. All right. Interesting. So I was able to make edits in Tabular Editor, but really if I want to make those changes back to my model, I need to actually save those. So right here, it's a good way where you can still do some development without the Power BI desktop slowing you down. So we've hidden 11 different columns here just in a single script. And then let's go ahead and press this save changes. So I'm actually going to snap this to the left. We're going to snap this to the right. I'm going to zoom in here now. Control S, keyboard fan, or press the floppy disk icon. I have no idea why we're still using floppies in 2020, but I love it. Save. Left-hand side, we can go ahead and watch this now, making those edits, making those changes. Awesome. So it just went ahead and hid those columns for us. So 11 columns hidden here in a simple script. But I guess if I remember kind of the file preferences of Tabular Editor, it said we could edit properties within our Power BI desktop model, but it also said that Tabular Editor could read those changes. So let's try something here then. So within my orders table, I'll just right click here. I'm going to select unhide all. Watch over here on the right hand side. Changes are going through, working on it. Cool. They're now back in black, now visible. So once again, we're able to make changes in Tabular Editor, write those down to our Power BI data set. We're able to make changes in our Power BI data set and have those be read back up in Tabular Editor. So just an incredible editing tool for both reading and also writing. But let's try kind of a few more things here then. I feel pretty comfortable with this rule, in terms of it feels pretty innocent. So what we're actually going to do, I'm going to go ahead and just navigate back to my tools. Best practice analyzer again, F10. I've used this hide foreign key column before. I'm very comfortable with it. I know exactly what it's going to do. Instead of copying and pasting over the script, I really just want to apply all 11 fixes at once. So I'm going to press the apply fix here with the tool. All of them are gray. And then we remember the last step here is just going to be that Control S to save our changes. We'll see here in our model, those columns are now hidden. So as you get comfortable, maybe there's 9 of these you're willing to do, maybe 2 of them you want to kind of remove, you're more than fine to do so through copy and paste. If some of these rules, you're not quite sure what they are, copying them over, starting to read through, figuring them out. But if they're very innocent, you just find yourself doing them over and over again, obviously just feel free to press the apply fix if you're comfortable. So jumping back over to our follow along here. So our new objective, we're going to create a new rule that can be used with the best practices rules. So once again, it's not just always the experts, kind of their opinions. Sometimes it's the business. What are our own internal rules that we should be applying? So here in the model, we're going to create our own best practices rule. Close out of this now. Tools, manage BPA rules. Here within this step. And we're going to create a rule on our local machine. So we're just going to do a new rule. We're going to get our window. just going to call this disable auto time intelligence. It's my least favorite feature of Power BI. We're going to leave the severity, the one category. We're going to say this is actually falling underneath just performance. Description, I'll save this. I'll save you the reading of the book. Copy, paste that. Cool. We're going to apply this at the model layer, kind of thinking about our TOM. And then just as we're thinking about the TOM, so if I have any tables, so just any tables that maybe have a name property that starts with the auto date time intelligence local date table underscore, and then I know afterwards they just come up with a crazy GUID, double quotes, close, and then the minimum compatibility level. So once again, Power BI is sitting on top of SQL Server, just obviously analysis services, the Azure analysis services here in some instances, 1200, 1400, 1470. We remember Power BI is actually at the highest level of 1520. So I'm fine to leave it at 1200. I'm going to press OK. I see this new rule has been created. Obviously, if you're within an organization, you maybe want to save these out to a SharePoint, just having others point to those URL addresses. Go ahead and do so. Just here, so that way it can be read kind of organizationally. Press OK. Navigate back to our tools, best practices analyzer. I now see disable auto time intelligence within the model. I see our description that's now been written. Unfortunately, we cannot remove these automatically. So we'll need to actually go back to our Power BI desktop, File, Options and Settings, Options. And whenever we have the pop-up, hopefully if you've not already done so, set this at the global level. Here at the very top, you can disable it for any new files that you create. For our example here within our current file, data load properties, just click on this disable auto date time. I really wish that we could script that out, but unfortunately, if you delete these over here, it creates conflict over here. So press OK. We see these local date tables. They're going to go and disappear here. A change was made to the model outside of Tabular. Do you want to go and update? Yes, more than fine to do so. Local date table is now gone. Cool. All right. Whew. So let me go and pause here. So what is the rule writing language? So the tool here, and we're going to kind of get to this in the next section as well, but the underlying language here that Daniel is leveraging is going to be C#. Yeah, I'll give pause to that whenever we get to that section, but I'm not a C# developer. I don't know anything about C#. It's really just taking the things that I know, kind of reading through a lot of his documentation, and it's pretty easy to get up and running. So we'll see that here with a lot of the scripting. But let me pause here. Any questions on best practices? Just being able to have an expert at your desk at any point in time. I'm sure a lot of you maybe after tonight say, all right, I'm going to go look at my own model and see how many rules I broke. I know it's just an awesome resource to have. And then obviously if you have rules such as these, where you're like, I think that would be incredible for the community out here, submit an issue. You can see here, disable auto time intelligence. I've already submitted it. I want Daniel to add it to the rules. So once again, because we're pointing at the URL, just any new rules that are added, we can just go and inherit those. So dynamically. But here are the rules, the kind of layout structure. He goes over a lot of the different items here. So in terms of critical, similar, 1 through 5. We set ours at 1. It's not important. It's not going to break the model if you have auto date time intelligence. It's really just bloating the model. But all of these rules have kind of been laid out. Whew. All right, so let me pause there then. Best practices. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Let me know in the chat. I'm gonna steal a drink. Awesome. Yeah, it's one of my favorite features, to be honest with you. Just being able to look at the model, and I never want to say you need to get to 0 violations. That's just unreasonable. If you have a solution that works for your purposes, you're more than fine. All of these are obviously suggestions. Camel case, translating your entire model. If you don't have a kind of a need for translations, don't worry about it. You can skip those. You can ignore them. Obviously, up here in the ignore, it's really up to your prerogative. But don't feel like you have to get to 0. All right, so we've learned a little bit here with kind of the scripting within the best practices analyzer. I'm actually going to just go ahead and copy this, delete it. So tonight is all about rapid development. So all of the ways that Power BI desktop, as you add a new measure, as you make a change, you can feel that slow, sluggish, now updating, now processing the model. Yeah, how do you know if you make a local rule when it is applied? In our previous example, we actually, it does show up in the list. So disable auto time intelligence, that new rule we just created, it'll go ahead and show up in the list then. And then we have the description here. Because I cleaned it up, we updated it. If I hit refresh now, we'll see the disable auto time intelligence. Boop, it's gone. Yep, awesome, you're welcome. Yeah, so that's where I try and position it. If you have rules that are internal to your organization, just how can we start building out that body? And then how do we get that in front of just all of our users? So maybe it's a calendar table, maybe it's a naming convention, however you want to kind of approach it. I think it's pretty cool to have those local rules. Awesome. So advanced scripting, rapid developments, all of the ways Power BI slows you down, no longer kind of an issue here. Important, just keyboard shortcuts, Control Z, undo, Control Y to redo. Just as we're making changes over here, those are still valid. And then the scripting language of kind of here within Tabular is C#. So I say that with a pause. I know nothing about C#. But what I do know is I've got a problem. I need to solve it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and just start breaking this down kind of piece by piece. And we'll start building all this knowledge back up and just think about all the ways we can just build that rapid development here for you. So on the left-hand side here, I'm actually going to just zoom in here a little bit so we can see this a little bit bigger. Ah, too big. All right, so on the advanced scripting tab here in Tabular Editor, we're going to go ahead and start just getting our hands on the keyboard. We're going to type this out here. So I'm going to do selected. Awesome. So we do have some IntelliSense, so we're not alone. So table. So the currently selected table. All right. So table. And then I would like to, I see add column, add hierarchy, add measure. There we go. So adds a new measure to the table and returns a reference to the measure. So name is my first argument. Expression is my second. And then display folder is my third. So let's try this. So let's do add measure. I'll go ahead and zoom back out here. So we're going to try just our text here is going to be total counts of. And our concatenator of C#. So it's going to be our plus symbol. We're going to say selected, period, table, period, name, comma. Remember my second argument is going to be my DAX expression. So I'm going to use the count rows. You'll just notice here, just no IntelliSense within the C#, obviously. And then I'm going to actually use just a single kind of a colon here. Or I'm sorry, a single comma. And then double quotes. So then this way, if I have any tables that maybe have a space in them, so just a special character like customer transactions, it'll go ahead and take care of that here for me. Concatenator again of the plus, selected, period, table, period, name, plus symbol, concatenator again, double quotes, single, close parenthesis, close double quotes, awesome, comma, and then our third argument here is our folder. So that folder, we're going to go and write it to. So I'm going to say just a measurements folder here at the very end, just a good practice, semicolon. I'm going to select, so selected, my table orders, and I'm going to go ahead and add a measure. So I've selected orders. If I press the F5 or the run script, a new measurements folder has been added. I see total count of the selected table name of orders. And then if I was to kind of scroll down here to the right, I can see all the different metadata properties, right? So thinking about our Tom, so the name here is the total count of orders. Display folder is measurements. And then our expression here is count rows. And we have those little single quotes here as well, just around our orders. Cool. So thinking about it again, first argument is our name. Second argument is our DAX expression. Third argument, our display folder. So all of these are available here within our property page. And we want to go ahead and save this change now back to our Power BI. Press Control S or press the floppy disk. Press save, instantly has the measurements folder, total count of orders, drop in our canvas. It's just like writing in the desktop. Slowing us down here. So let's actually undo this then. So Control Z, I'm just all about muscle memory tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this here. We're gonna start again from scratch. Just I noticed a lot of improvements. We just kept writing this selected.table.name, seemed like we were writing it twice. So let's create a variable. So taking the things that we know in Power BI like var or in kind of other programming languages. So we're gonna do var table name. You can call it anything you want. Just feel free. If you want to call it Reddit, feel free. So table name, remember we're selected dot table. Then I'm going to get that name property here. So the name of the object, yes. Semicolon because we're done with this statement. Selected period table, my IntelliSense period, add measure. First argument is our name, second expression, third display folder. Let's try this again. So total count of double quotes, concatenator of the plus symbol here in C#, table name. So we're going to point to our variable that we created earlier, comma. Our second argument here is just our DAX expression. So count rows, open parenthesis, that single quote, just if we have a space, double quote, concatenator table name plus symbol, double quote, single quote, close parenthesis, close double quotes, woof, comma. And then our third argument here is just our display folder. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back in my measurements folder. Semicolon at the end, just a good practice. Once again, just close that statement. Select my orders table, press green script, measurements, total count of orders, see all my properties. Very cool. Very cool. So let's try something here then. So let's do it over both our customers and employees table, because I've been talking about rapid development. So I'm going to select customers. I'm going to select employees. Hold Control, or if they're adjacent, you can hold Shift. Selecting both of these now. Run script. Have an error. So the selection contains more than one object of type table. All right, that's accurate. You know, we selected two at the same time. It's just unable to determine, you know, it's only got one selected statement. So what we need to do is we actually need to start thinking about looping through our tables. So once again, I'm here to build that muscle memory tonight. I'm going to delete this script. I'm going to do samples, tutorials. We're going to say, let's loop through all selected tables. Cool. So C#, I'm not an expert. I'm just trying to read what it's presenting here in front of me. So for each, right, so we're doing some type of loop. We're creating a variable that's called table. And then what we're storing it in is the selected dot tables. All right, so any tables that we select, store in a variable called table, and then just go ahead and loop through those items. Cool. So I'm going to delete this green comment. Just don't need it right now. And let's go ahead and start again. So var table name equals, and I'm going to get the table variable from earlier. And remember, I want to go ahead and grab that name property. So just name, semicolon, table. So once again, the selected table, we want to add a measure to it. I'm trying to remember, what were the 3 arguments of add measure? Can you help me out in the chat? What were the 3 arguments for add measure? All right, so we've got name first, so total count of plus table name. What was the second argument, if you recall? I'm just trying to remember now. So our 3 arguments here. Give me a moment here to type. If you need to, you can feel free to just scroll back up and sheet. Purpose of the measure. Yeah, that's great. I love that. So in our example, we're going to do just count rows again. Open parenthesis, single, double, plus table name, plus concatenator again. Double quotes, single, close parenthesis, double quotes. Feel free to copy and paste if you'd like. And then the third argument here is just going to be our display folder. Number 3 is the display folder. So we just remember that. So where do we want to store that here within the table? Awesome. Thank you. Cool. So we've got this loop. We've got our storing a variable. We've got our measure. So now if I expand these both out, run these here. So just run script. Instantly adds measurements, total count of customers. Adds another measurements folder here in employees, total count of employees. So we're able to write just 2 scripts here at once. Obviously, just Control S, save back to our Power BI data set. So we see customers and employees. Save instantly. Measurements for both employees and customers. All right, so we're able to loop through kind of multiple selections. Be perfectly honest with you, though, I don't see us doing a lot of table looping. So it's probably going to come back to columns. So you know me, muscle memory. We're going to delete this again, start from scratch. Let's just go and undo kind of these previous ones. I'm going to get rid of them. Control Z. Samples, tutorials, loop through all selected columns. So for each, we're looping selected.columns, store those in a variable called column. All right, I'm getting pretty good at this C# then. So column is the variable, the table in which it's stored. Add a measure. Name, we're going to go and just call this sum of, double quotes, concatenator, our column.name, comma. The measure itself, so just double quotes again here, sum, open parenthesis, double quotes, concatenator, the plus, column dot dax, object, full name. So what does that mean? So the dax object full name property provides the fully qualified name. So both the single quote here, so it's going to prefix it with your table name and then also the column name. So if you have multiple columns in your data model that share the same name, maybe like the primary or foreign key, it will go and just prefix it here with the table name. So just an awesome practice to have. We're gonna do a plus, double quotes, closed parenthesis, double quotes, our display folder here again, measurements. Close that out here with my semicolon. And then let's go ahead and select here in our sales order lines table. So I'm just going to go ahead and collapse customers, collapse orders. And then let's get over to our sales order lines. So I'm going to select quantity, unit price, and pick quantity. Run my script. measurements, instantly wrote sum of quantity, sum of unit price, sum of pick quantity. All right, that's pretty cool. So we were able to write just 3 measures here with 1 script, just deploying those instantly here within our model. But let's actually kind of undo these, because I think we can add more to this script body. So Control Z to undo. I'm just going to go ahead and start here again. So let's do column.table.add measure, open parenthesis. This time I'm going to do average of, double quotes, plus column period name, comma. All right, that felt interesting. Double quotes again, average, open parenthesis, double quotes, plus column. I feel like I'm typing that again. DAX object full name. You know what it is? I probably should have written these as variables instead. You're right. I just love here we started maybe not knowing anything about C#, kind of this advanced scripting, but now you're starting to read the code. You're starting to look at it and saying, I think we can improve this. So obviously a challenge for you just outside of tonight, update the script, just include variables. But I love here that you're starting to be able to read and understand this. So plus symbol, concatenate here at the very end, comma, our measurements folder here at the very bottom, closed parenthesis, closed semicolon here. It's selecting again quantity, unit price, picked quantity. So we're selecting all 3 again. Run our script. Instantly have sum of quantity, average of quantity, sum of unit price, average of unit price. So we're able to write 6 different measures here with just a single script. Save these now over into our Power BI data model. Control S, press the floppy disk. I'm going to just laugh about that floppy disk forever. If you think about just writing 6 measures within your data set, just how long that takes whenever Power BI is kind of going through those slow, sluggish changes. But why I'm excited, as a community guy, I'm going to scroll down here. So script snippets and community scripts. Here within script snippets, just as you're starting to think about, I think that this would be really powerful. I really want to learn a lot more about scripting. A lot of these here with examples, or if you're thinking about like time intelligence, these patterns have already been solved. You don't need to come out here and reinvent the wheel. I see this script here, time intelligence. I'm going to go ahead and just copy this now. I'm going to paste it here within my window. I notice here they have a variable that's called date column. Theirs is pointing to a table that's called dates. Mine is just called calendar. So I'm going to just actually update this to calendar. I have this now. I'm going to select all 6 of these measures I just wrote, press run script, and look at that. Able to write 36 measures just in the click of a button. Press F5 and let it run automatically. It has a lot of these built for you. So especially if you have kind of a long weekend, I've just not gotten the chance to do it yet. SQL BI, their DAX patterns, if you're looking for a good exercise, come out here. Start solving some of these patterns just over here within Tabular Editor. So maybe it's a time intelligence pattern you want to kind of build for the community. Feel free to submit it. It would be an honor for me to come out here and copy and paste your code one day. But as you come up with scripts as well, you can save these in Tabular Editor. So just samples, custom actions. So anything that you're doing, with scripting, you can save these here now. But let me go and pause here. Just being able to instantly just write, 36 measures in the click of a button. Let me know. Thumbs up, thumbs down in the chat. Feel free to come off mute if you have any additional questions. I'm going to steal a drink of water though.
We are pretty new to Power BI, and I see this is very Tabular Editor is very powerful. And instead of having to do 36 measures and stuff like that, I think this is very good, and it's very good to know. Glad to be on this call and glad to be on a training with you. because I
Well, welcome
think
to Power BI as well.
otherwise we might have not known this great tool. I mean, we do have this tool, but we don't. Like I said, we are just newbies in this, so that's very, very good to know. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. And I've had this conversation with a lot of groups as well, just how I would position external tools and just, especially being newer to Power BI. The vision of Power BI started with, and it continues to be, self-service. So if you look at the original architecture and infrastructure of Power BI, it's been built on kind of Office 365 groups. We're really shedding some of that skin this year. It's with kind of like V1 or V2 workspaces if you're up in the cloud service, but it's the end user experience. It's still self-service. So the excitement around Power BI, the community, everything that they've been doing, everything that they've been loving kind of over the past, 5 years of its technology, and then maybe even past the past 3 to 4 years, and just the excitement. People have outgrown the desktop application. So with that, a lot of these external tools that have recently been opened up kind of within the Power BI experience, it's allowing those professional developers to keep going, keep building things faster, building bigger things, and then obviously still incorporating this self-service aspect for welcoming new users. So I always have a lot of questions. Well, when should I start looking into external tools? Especially if you're newer to Power BI, I would say, if you've built a few solutions, if you've delivered some, business value, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's 9 months, maybe it's 12 months down the road, and you want to start looking in these tools, and that's a great time. I would not say that a new user sitting in a dashboard day should have to go out and learn how to do C# scripting. Should not have to go out and learn Tabular Editor. They're more than fine to just point and click, the clicky, draggy, droppy. But it's for all those power users who are like, I need to go faster. The desktop is holding me back. External tools. So that's where I hang my hat on it. Gary, feel free to let me know if you feel any differently, because I know you've been around this space too.
Yeah, no, this is this is definitely an advanced tool, and it does a lot of really cool things. And the light bulb that went off for me is the sort of when you just scripted, what was it, 36 measures,
Yep.
is now, how does this relate to, in the future, having a common data model in which there's even less scripting, there's even less modifying of the scripting, because we're using the same table names across data sources and that sort of thing.
Yep. Yeah, especially if you're thinking about data flows, looking at deploying a new table here. So right click, create a new table, and then from here at the very bottom, partitions. So getting all of our fun stuff here. New partition in Power Query.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'll jump over to Expression Editor. So if you don't want to do Power Query development, and you just want to copy and paste the script over here, Tabular Editor does that too. I think it's just an incredible tool. But for new users, let me go ahead and click over. I think October may be out. If it's not out, then they can slap me on the wrist. So I'm going to open up the October desktop. I told Gary kind of before we started, what was the thing that I was most excited about? Add data to your report. A new user lands in Power BI desktop. They have no idea where to go. They're lost. They're confused. Try a sample data set. Yep. Let's just load in tutorial data. Get out of here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. Just
this
wait
is
though.
Teresa. Oh my gosh. Because I can remember when I first did a few projects back in 2016 on Power BI for my former employer. This makes it so much easier.
Yes. And so we're going to load in some sample data here. And come on. And this is so cool whenever it kind of gets done. Loading in. Build visuals with your data. Select or drag a field from fields pane. Well, now it's helping people, just to get a little bit further down the road. Because the part that always kills me is they end up in the application, it's just a big white screen. They have no idea where to go and what to do. And then we lose people. They just say, well, Power BI is too difficult for me. It's not for me. I'm just going to go back to the tool that I'm comfortable with. So any way that we can help with kind of these visual watermarks, I'm just thrilled about. And I'm a guy up here talking about C#, advanced scripting, all this development, and I'm just like, this is actually the coolest thing that I'm excited about. But you'll see a lot of these kind of visual helpers just welcoming more and more kind of the self-service end users to the application. And then whenever they've kind of gotten that pro developer side, we'll scare them a little bit here with Tabular Editor and the external tools, but we'll wait about 6, 9, 12 months, whatever it may be, to kind of welcome that group. Cool. All right, so let me delete some of these. We're gonna go ahead and round out here just with our last section. So I'm gonna get out of DAX patterns, and I'll talk about the release plans here too. So I noticed just the same format over and over and over again. YDD, PY, YDD, PY, just bloating, just too many of them in my model. So actually just Control Z undo. Let's get rid of it. There we go. Oh, Control Y. So calculation groups, we're going to go to create this now so you can build calculation groups in a Power BI data set, just leveraging obviously Tabular Editor. If you're familiar with analysis services, you can also build perspectives here using Tabular Editor. But for right now, we're going to navigate to our calendar table. I'm just going to check the date column. So yes, I see it's grayed out. So I just want to actually enable this. So I'll change from hidden true to false. Cool. So now black. We're going to create a new table. So Tabular Editor is not always script. It's knowing the healthy balance here within your data set. So I'm going to just right-click tables. I'll do a new calculation group, or Alt-7 if you're a keyboard fan. New calculation group. I'll just call it Time Intelligence. Right here on my directional pad, I'll go down to name. I'll just update this. It's not specific. Call it Pineapple. I'm not a stickler here on my naming conventions. So let's call it our time calculation, and we'll create just new calculation items. So just right-click calculation items, new. Let's just do 1, 2, 3. If you wanted, you could also do duplicate. But we're just copy and paste this here now. So calculate in our expression editor. And something that you'll notice if I was to type it out, calculate, it does have syntax highlighting. Unfortunately, it does not have DAX IntelliSense. That is something that Daniel is building towards just in his next major release. So for right now, he's just concentrating on the minor releases. So calculate, I'll do this selected measure, open parenthesis, close parenthesis. I'm not really sure what that means. Selected measure, we're not passing through any arguments. So, we'll figure it out when we get to the canvas. Comma, let's do dates, month to date, my calendar table, semicolon, I'll just do dates, close, and the best code is the kind you can copy and paste. So I'll just select that, paste it over here to calculation 1, we'll change M to Q, and then we'll do new calculation 2, we'll paste this and we'll change this to Y. Awesome. So 3 different measures now created. Let's name these. So my first one was MTD. I can change it down here on my properties page, or I can press F2 if you're a keyboard fan. F2, QTD, and our last one, F2 again, is YTD. So multiple different ways. I'm going to change the format string here now. I'm just going to put this as currency. So I'm going to bulk select all of them. So month to date through Y to date, just hold shift and format string here at the very bottom. I'm just going to go ahead and paste this in here. So currency, just a dollar symbol, comma, 0, ... Awesome. Press enter. Month to date now been updated. Quarter to date updated with format string, and then also my Y to date. So I didn't have to script everything. Like I said, I want you to feel comfortable just knowing the healthy balance. In this example, I created it manually, especially as you think about time intelligence. This may be a much better script, especially if you're deploying these just model after model after model all the time, just scripting the creation of calculation groups out. So we're going to save this now into our model. So let's go ahead and do save, Control S. I see here time intelligence. It's giving me the warning here. 1 or more calculation groups needs to be manually refreshed. Refresh it now. We're going to go full screen. And And then let's drop in a matrix. Cool. Calendar, let's drop in our dates. Actually, let's do year, month, and we'll do day. Awesome. And then we're going to do from our sales order lines, we'll just do total unit price into our values. Cool. So I can see my total unit price here by year, drill down into month, and then obviously I have day kind of at the lower granularity. Time intelligence, time calculation. I'm adding this to my columns. Boom. Instantly added month to date, quarter to date, and a year to date here, just for my total unit price. So if we think back, that selected measure, I didn't tell it what measure I was going to use. I just said whatever measure is on that canvas, feel free, go for it. So if I was to change this out now, because remember, this was a pattern. So our month to date was a pattern. We found just measure after measure. I'm going to remove it here for total unit price. I'm going to switch it out just for average of quantity. Average of quantity. Month to date, quarter to date, year to date. Maybe I want to add average of pick quantity, average of unit price. Month to date, average of quantity, pick quantity, unit price, quarter to date, year to date. Just over and over and over again, these repeatable patterns here with calculation now unlocked using Tabular Editor. So once again, just not a feature that's available for you in the Power BI desktop. Just there's no native graphical user interface. That's why these external tools are just allowing our pro developers just continue to build, more advanced kind of professional BI solutions. Whew. So where do you go from here? Power BI.tips, the creator here of Tabular Editor, he did a fantastic series. So if there was any portion tonight where you were excited, you're like, I want to learn more about that. He's got 4 different video series. So just an introduction here, about an hour, using scripts, so the advanced scripting, an hour and 9. Best practice analyzer, that's a pretty great one. Then also DevOps. So if you're looking at, well, how do I use Tabular Editor with a combination of just full application lifecycle management and DevOps, go and check out that video. Just a fantastic series over here, just on YouTube. So we go and pause that and just check those out. Advanced scripting, once again, it's going to be an honor for me to go out here and just copy and paste your code one day. So community scripts, people are starting to submit these now as they're seeing the potential of Tabular Editor and what it can do for them. A lot of these are starting to come out here now. So basic scripts, advanced scripts, or I guess intermediate scripts in this example. If you have something, if you want to submit it, obviously just come out here, do so. I think they've got a pretty good kind of how to contribute kind of layout there like you do it here too. This now. Calculation groups, just these now being unlocked for you. SQL BI has been doing an incredible series over on YouTube and then also some of their blogs. And then the official Microsoft Docs has a lot of this information as well. So this is not exclusive to Power BI Premium. You can deploy calculation groups to data sets that are in Pro or kind of the shared capacity. So I know that was a question from earlier. Whew. All right, so let me pause there. Any questions here? Just hopefully the ideas, just the light bulb has gone off. Like I said, if you have maybe a coworker or a friend who was not able to attend tonight, feel free. Tell them just check out this page. All these guided videos here at the very top, they're optional. It's the exact same format that we went through tonight. Overall for me, like I said, just the post dashboard today crowd, I'm out here always looking at, well, what content do they need? How can we help them? ALM toolkit in an hour. So if you're looking at application lifecycle management with external tools, here's another guided walkthrough, very similar to what we did tonight. That'll talk you through, Tom, comparing different models. So if you're doing multi-developer, how do you merge those together into a single data set? This should give you some good ideas. And then I'm just working on some other content as well. So DAX Studio in an hour. Hopefully I'll have query folding an hour at some point, over the winter break. But start the resource or kind of start the GitHub repository and just feel free to connect with me online as well. So let me go and leave that contact here for you. Awesome. Whew. So find me on Twitter, find me on LinkedIn. Any additional questions? So I'll pause there.
I do have a comment, not really a question.
Yeah.
I know you did mention that most of the data they want, power users or any kind of users basically should be able to see it here. And I see even here, most of the times people are willing to see like a tabular format of data. And you Microsoft did a very good job with Excel that everybody still wants to put it back in Excel and
Oh
do
yeah.
the visuals at the very end of the day, at the end of the excuse me, end of the day. So I think somehow trying to get their minds wrapped around the visuals more than just Excel.
Well, I'm an Excel guy, and I'm never asking anyone to pick and choose in Office 365. And you can check now within your browser, or I'm sorry, within your application, just to let me know because I'm trying to, survey a lot of people. So within your Excel, if you go to the Data tab, the Get Data, we do now have a From Power BI option. People in the chat, let me know, or you can come off mute. Let me know, do you see the From Power BI option yet? So this is just
I haven't seen that yet, but I am double checking right now on my Excel because I've got it up. So
yeah, and I know it's been on the insider ring. So if your organization is like, hey, we're not willing to do insider ring, it'll probably just be like the next Office 365 update for your organization. But then at that point, you'll hopefully see the connect just to a Power BI data set.
Yeah, it's in mine.
You do have it, Gary?
Yeah, from Power. It says it doesn't. It's not that exact language. It says from Power BI data set. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
And it shows right here within the Get Data.
Yes.
Cool. So if you click that, oh, go ahead.
I don't have it yet, so I'll look for it though.
Yeah. So what it'll do is it'll pop out just a pane here within Excel, just connecting out to the Power BI service. So any data sets that your users have access to, it's just going to go ahead and scan through that now. And then it'll also just provide a lot of that metadata that's available out in the service. So if you have any certified kind of endorsements, so whether it be certified, promoted, your users will see that. If there's any security, like sensitivity labeling with Microsoft Information Protection, you'll see that information as well. But I'm going to go ahead and type in just roadmap so I can connect out to my own Power BI roadmap. As an end user, I want to do things in Excel. I love Power BI, but really I'm in Excel. This is where I'm trying to just do some ad hoc quick analysis. Click it now. Instantly is going to deploy just a pivot table here. So pivot table, drag and drop my fields. So maybe availability. And then let's do feature. There we go. So as an end user, I don't have to leave Excel if this is where I want to hang out. And then I'm really just connecting out to a Power BI data set. So these are the things that I'm really excited about. And then talking about the roadmap as well. So that was one area I wanted to go ahead and share. Cool. So out on the release plan, I always say I just apologize for throwing so many hyperlinks at people all the time. I took our release plan notes. I put it together in a great report here that I think just a lot of people are enjoying. It breaks it out month by month in terms of features. So we're in, what is it, October now? What do we have coming up? Overload alerts, Power BI as an Excel data type, on-canvas watermarks. You've already heard my excitement there. Everything that's coming out this month, next month. So the XML read write that we were talking about earlier, obviously with Tabular, just being able to connect out to that, coming into general availability, composite models over Power BI data sets. This is going to be a premium feature. This is our 20-year journey of analysis services, being able to connect multiple models together. So you don't need to create super models anymore, of just mashing everything together in one instance. You can have your IT semantic enterprise model here in the middle. If you have a department that, I'll say sales is the middle, built by IT. Over here on the right is maybe human resources, maybe it's marketing. They just have local files. Maybe it's Excel, maybe it's a SharePoint list. If they want to connect your model with other data, this is the 20-year journey. This is where we're now kind of finally landing and this will be coming into public preview in November. So that's one I'm really excited about. But bookmark this report. Feel free to kind of use it within your organization's internal planning. This is how I stay afloat. It's just I take it 1 month at a time. Gary, hopefully you've got this bookmarked.
Oh gosh, yeah.
All right.
It's so hard to keep up with that.
Yep.
All the changes.
I would agree.
But it's also exciting.
Yeah, that's what's fun. Whenever you are kind of at a point where you're like, all right, I'm taking Power BI a month at a time, it's a lot more enjoyable. If you're trying to catch up on 5 years worth of releases and all these great features they've kind of come out with, it can feel daunting at first. So always stick with the fundamentals. They'll never lead you astray. So start schemas, good database tables with indexes, and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Well, any other questions just from the group here? Otherwise, greatly appreciate your time. Please feel free to connect with me. Hopefully, I'll be back here as well, just presenting in a future kind of session. But always have fun kind of hanging out with the group.
Well, Alex, thanks. I just really appreciate you coming in and speaking to our user group. It's really fun to get some great not only get some great content from you, but I haven't seen you speak for a while, and as a friend, it's fun to watch you grow as a IT professional. You seem to be growing exponentially, and it's fun to watch.
Well, thank you, sir.
So, yeah, fantastic.
Well, hopefully everyone enjoyed kind of the follow along just over on the GitHub. Like I said, if the pace wasn't for you tonight, hopefully you just sat back and enjoyed the show. I just don't want to leave anyone behind. So if there's any knowledge that I can share, always feel free to reach out to me or Gary. He can get you in contact with me. But any resources I can share, any help I can provide, more than happy to do so.
Thank you, Alex. This is Julie, and I want to thank everybody for jumping on to the Teams meeting. I know it was a last-minute change from the go-to, but we really appreciate that you spent the time to find the link and come over and meet with us for this meeting. We had a great turnout. Thanks again, Alex. Very dynamic. Really enjoyed it. And I'm with the SSM where Morales from. He's been asking your questions. So we're moving to Power BI or towards Power BI. So we're all excited about this.
Well, I know in Report Server, you will be converting over to the enhanced metadata format. So tools like this will be enabled for you on Report Server. So that's one benefit I'll give for you, Julie.
Yay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, well, if there are no other questions, thanks again for everyone, and thank you, Alex, and we'll hope to see you again soon at another conference or meeting. Yep.
Right. So what's the date? It was Monday, November
2nd. It's going to be a week and a day earlier than the usual second Tuesday.
So hopefully we'll see you on Monday, November 2nd at our next meeting. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.